Hello and welcome to a very special edition of Pop Culture Time Capsule. It's our Halloween special edition. I'm Anthony Deneau in the studio with Jameson Rabbit and Jeff Robbins. Fellas, how we doing tonight?
It's a very spooky time in the theater, in the studio.
Theater?
Whatever we are.
Give me some more volume.
Jeff needs
Oh
volume.
my God. Here.
Amp them up.
Oh, no. I don't hear nothing. Crank it up.
Crank it up.
Oh, baby.
Whoa.
Oh.
It's never enough.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
This is the Halloween episode.
I've got the Halloween spirit. I'm in the spirit of Halloween. All Hallows Eve.
Well, we can tell you're dressed up. You're ready to roll.
I'm gonna sacrifice a goat tonight.
I can't wait. It's going to be right outside the studio. Oh, yes. I saw you sharpening the knife. So we're breaking away from the usual tradition.
Now
I feel really tinny in my ears.
Now it's way too loud in my ears.
Breaking away from our usual tradition.
Who's running the board on this
Pop
show?
Culture Time Capsule, where we talk about
Is
various
this
years. Instead, we have chosen a genre.
Is this Pop Culture Time Capsule?
Pop Culture Time Capsule?
Is this live?
Here we are. We're
I
live.
love this show.
We're on the radio. We're on the Facebook Live over here.
Oh, it's my
We're on
favorite
the
show.
TV podcast thing over here. We're doing it all.
We're not live on TV.
We're doing whatever.
Right.
I don't know how electronics work.
It's a lot to keep track
We're all
of.
dressed up. Look, we got myself here. That's me. That's Jeff. Did his hair tonight. And then we have, yeah, boy, Anthony Deneau. Here we are. We are ready to roll. Yes. So,
Good
Pretty
stuff.
op-
I'm
pretty op-
excited.
pretty
So how
optimistic.
is this episode going to be different than our
Pretty
regular
optimistic that
scheduled
anybody's
program?
listening since the last game of the World Series is happening.
nobody
right now.
watches the World Series. It's garbage. Two
Really?
garbage teams
What is
playing
World
each other.
Series?
Yep.
You love Boston. You love Boston.
Yeah.
So this is
So here we are. Instead of talking about a year, we're talking about Halloween.
Yeah,
Our favorite
mixing
things.
it up.
It could be anything. It's wide open. Wide open. Just Halloween, pop culture related.
Do you need a different set of
Nope,
headphones?
these headphones are terrific.
Okay.
They just keep falling off my head. That's all.
That's no problem.
No big
I'm
deal.
working on it over here, too.
No. So let's.
Are you Public Enemy? Are you Flavor Flav? Or are you that guy from What's Up With That?
That's what I said. It looks like a Sudeikis.
Yeah,
suit
you look
at
like a
first.
Sudeikis outfit.
Thought you were going to be a b-boy.
Yeah, no, I am Flavor Flav. But I do like that. It's one of the better. I don't know. Where do you rank that for SNL skits
Oh, it's
over the last 10 years?
at least top 100.
Top 100? All right, I like where your head's at.
Yeah, it's very
I
good.
like where your head's at.
Very good. Well, let's
Should we get into it?
Peter on the bush no more. Let's get right into this show.
Yeah, let's do it.
It's
I'm
ooky
excited.
and spooky. Let's make this happen.
I'm excited. I think somebody should start.
I think you should start.
I think
Fine.
Jeff should start. Kick it off, Jeff.
Well, we're okay. So for my number 10 on now, I have a theme to my list,
Is it Halloween related?
and it's Halloween. Oddly enough, it's Halloween related.
Wow,
McDonald's Happy
how
Meal toys.
fortuitous.
Because I figured, and maybe I'll be proven wrong, and I'm wrong a lot of the time, but I figured that you would have movies covered, and maybe Anthony would have music covered, or toys, or food. Mine's all TV.
You couldn't be more wrong on those guesses.
Great. Well, that's fine. I don't really, that doesn't bother me.
This is gonna
All
work
right.
out well, though, Jeff.
Let's do it.
So my number 10 is something, the kids come up to me on the street because I'm recognized from the show.
Yep.
And they say, you're not contemporary enough. You're not with it.
Sure.
You talk about old stuff. Talk about like 1973.
Yeah.
So my number 10 is something that just happened last year, 2017.
Uh-huh.
And as a fan of the Foo Fighters and as a fan of David Letterman, it was I loved last Halloween on Jimmy Kimmel Live television program. Dave Grohl guest hosted, and he for his costume was the current Dave Letterman with the full beard.
That's right.
And,
Yeah.
I enjoyed that quite a bit. And that Kristen Bell was on, and I think she was dressed up as Tom Selleck.
Yes.
And they did Frozen and Metallica mashup, and I just really it warmed the cockles of my heart to see Mr. Grohl
Cockles.
as Mr. Letterman. I know they have I don't think they have a personal relationship, but I think they have a mutual respect.
I mean, he chose them to be on his final episode, right?
Well, right. I know. I think they have,
Yeah.
like I said, I think they have mutual respect, but
Yeah.
I don't think they're friends. But they
Does
obviously
Dave have friends?
They're not. I don't think they're hanging out at the farm in Montana.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my number 10. Dave Grohl as David Letterman on last year's Jimmy Kimmel Live show,
Interesting.
2017, on my TV themed list.
All right. My number 10, I guess I lied when I said I had no movies, but this isn't necessarily a movie. Kind of This is a movie. My number 10 Halloween-related pop culture item is... What are you doing?
Is he wearing sunglasses?
Yeah, he's wearing sunglasses. You just now looking at him?
Try not to look at him too much.
Good-looking guy. My number 10 is the Halloween dance in The Karate Kid. The moment where... It's a pivotal moment in the movie because you have Daniel's son, who is just taking a beating. He really wants to go to this dance with Allie, but he doesn't want to see that Cobra Kai. And so he says to Mr. Miyagi, can you make me the Invisible Man? Mr. Miyagi comes up with that great costume of him in a shower curtain. Pretty cool. It's also a pivotal moment where Daniel decides to fight back. Very passive-aggressively puts the water hose over the stall door on Johnny as he's trying to smoke a J. And then you have him running for his life as the Cobra Kai, all dressed as those great skeleton costumes, all chase him down. Great music. And then the most pivotal moment of the movie is the fight in the fog as Daniel's trying to run away. They grab hold of him. They're out in the fog. He's just getting pounded on, and all of a sudden Mr. Miyagi comes like a shadow leaping over a fence in the fog and lays waste to a bunch of teenagers.
Right. Well, he's Mr. Miyagi.
He is. He just beats up a bunch of 16-year-olds.
Or Arnold, if you're in my generation.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I love the look of the skeleton costumes is really iconic out there. All the Cobra Kai. Just a great moment. Great Halloween moment. Oh, he's had enough, Johnny. I'll tell you when he's had enough.
I just like seeing Ralph Macchio get beat up.
Yeah, who doesn't? Johnny,
Him and Scott Baio.
get it. Yeah. Anyways, so that's my number 10 pop culture moment is the Halloween night and the Karate Kid.
Nice.
There you go. That's the end of my movies.
I thought maybe my selections were too specific, but that's a very specific
Yes, it
that's
is.
a scene in
It
a
is.
film. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. There you go.
Nice.
You guys really zeroing in on the target.
That's what we're doing.
For my number 10, I've got underrated horror movies. These are horror movies that I think are pretty darn good, but maybe don't get all the fun play as other classics. But Drag Me to Hell, a Sam Raimi movie from the mid to late 2000s, starring Justin Long, and also Stir of Echoes from, I don't know, late 90s, early 2000s.
It's like
Kevin
99?
Bacon. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say right around the turn of the century. I think these are pretty good movies. Jameson, you're a fan of other Sam Raimi movies. Are you big on either Drag Me to Hell or the Kevin Bacon Stir of Echoes?
I like both of those. Yeah.
I think they're good movies.
Yeah, I like them both. Stir of Echoes really got me the first time I saw it.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
I think there's a fun twist involved there, and
For sure.
kind of
Like you were surprised by, there were some twists.
Yeah.
It sucked you in.
Sucked me in.
It was succulent.
It was gelatinous.
It was gelatinous. So there you go. I'm going with underrated horror movies for my number 10. Drag Me to Hell and Stir of Echoes. And if you like weird, gory, kind of over the top, Drag Me to Hell, Sam Raimi is for you. And then as a fun, I think a good plot, the Stir of Echoes is a good movie with Kevin Bacon.
Are those your only movies that are on your list?
No,
I'm actually making up for Jameson, who I didn't know has no movies other than his number 10, the very specific Karate Kid. I am very movie heavy as we get into my top 5, but
You're heavy in general, but I mean fat.
Yes.
I just mean heavy, like
PH.
like heavy D.
like you have substance to you.
oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, I appreciate that.
Says the guy in the Elvis wig.
Was this Elvis? I thought this was Frankenstein.
Is it? Could be Frankenstein.
I thought it was Honky Tonk Man.
Oh, I like that a lot.
Jeff, you love him from the Toronto Taint Job.
Just generic
of
honky tonk man.
1987.
Yeah. Yep, generic.
My number.
Generic.
What time is it? This is 9:30
Yeah,
yet.
it's
We're doing good. We're doing
almost
good.
done.
Thank God. My number 9 is I should have been more specific when I introduced my list to the fine, vast North American listening audience. Most of these are comedy related.
Okay.
Halloween comedies.
Ah.
Oh.
Oh.
Wow. Would you look at that?
So my number 9 is the episode of. I know we talked about this show a few weeks back during the year that it premiered, and I don't think I got the vibe that you guys were not fans, but we're going to go with it anyway. My number 9 is third season episode of Everybody Loves Raymond, entitled Halloween Candy. And what happens on this particular episode? This is actually an episode I wasn't watching Everybody Loves Raymond, and this got such buzz at the offices of WISC TV that I this is the episode that actually got me to start watching the series.
Just drew you in, huh?
It drew me in. It's not any really
Water cooler talk just got you going.
Well, let me tell you what the episode's about.
Please do.
See, now Everybody Loves Raymond came off as sort of a like a family sitcom, but actually could be very randy at times. So we got a lot of complaints from viewers about content. And this episode was no exception. So what happens in this episode is Ray's a little horny.
Uh-oh.
Ray's looking for some action with
Deborah.
with his lovely wife Deborah. And she's tired of supplying all the birth control herself. So she decides that she
They've
should.
been married for like 10 years at this point. What are they doing?
Deborah. They're still in love, man. Love's a beautiful thing. Don't you love being in love?
Who's providing birth control when you're married 10 years? Come on, take care of that.
So they talk about a vasectomy. He whips out of the vasectomy, but he goes and he gets some condoms at the store. That's where they sell condoms, at the store.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So it's Halloween, and
Condoms are us.
And they make a plan to put the condoms to use after trick or treating and after the kids on their sugar high go to bed. And Peter Boyle is at the house giving out the candy.
Young Frankenstein's monster himself.
So you've seen this?
Yes, I've seen it.
Okay.
Well, he's also, I mean, I know the movie.
So that was kind of a nice little thing.
Yeah.
He recreated his character from Young Frankenstein, so there's that. So that's cool, too. But yes, they run out of candy, and he finds what he believes to be chocolate coins hidden in the kitchen, and he starts giving out condoms to the sweet, innocent little children of the Queens neighborhood, or wherever it is they live. And then at the end, they have to, of course, apologize to the parents in the neighborhood. Ray finds one to he finds a kid to sell him his chocolate coin back.
Yeah.
But it is actually, unfortunately, a chocolate coin.
Aww.
So it ends up with him still sex-starved at the end. Poor Ray Romano. And that is my number 9 on the list.
Nothing worse than a sexually frustrated Ray Romano. No. Nobody wants that wandered in the neighborhood. Good grief. It's a good one. I do like that one, if nothing else than the Peter Boyle.
Sure,
like
that's
as the monster.
That's a little highlight.
Is he the best part of the show? I mean,
I
just
love
in
Peter.
general,
I think
on a weekly
overall,
basis?
yeah.
He has so
Or your
many
Brad
like
Garrett guy.
scene-stealing moments in the. He's very, very understated throughout most of that series, which I like.
Oh, he's always yelling.
Right, but I mean, his character—that's his character for the most part. Is just yelling. But then every once in a while, he has some quips towards Doris Roberts that are just killer.
The best part about Everybody Loves Raymond is that they almost totally ignore the children.
Yes.
Even on this episode,
They
there's
went
like
upstairs.
there's like
They
two,
have
there's,
children?
There's like 2 seconds of the kids sitting on the couch.
twins.
Oh, they're very cute, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got 3 kids.
Go upstairs and play. We got a show to do. Yeah. All right. So that brings it to me, and I'm going TV related right here with my number 9 Halloween selection. It is The Simpsons, The Treehouse of Horror. I think we got a music there. Treehouse of Horror music.
Cue that up,
Cue up Treehouse
board boy.
of Horror. The entire run of Treehouse of Horror is pretty great. I love the first few seasons when they would have Marge come out and warn you as the audience about what you were about to see. The first season was genuine because they were worried that this departed so much from what The Simpsons was. It was an actual like warning to parents, like, hey, this is different. Maybe put the kids to bed. And then they just started playing on that after that. Treehouse of Horror was always, it was 4 segments, kind of departing from the actual show, non-canon. First one was in 1990. Simpsons is on season 30 right now. There's been 29 Treehouse of Horror.
Unbelievable.
What's older, The Simpsons or Anthony Deneau?
That's close, isn't it?
I think
Here's the thing: if you're going off of the Tracy Ullman Simpsons, I think they're older. But
Well, that was 88 when they started.
okay, and I'm 88 as well.
There you go. Another thing that I love about Treehouse of Horror is it's everyone has had Kang and Kodos, the 2 aliens, who debuted
that.
in the first one, and are for the most part really just reside in the Treehouse of Horror.
didn't know
Sometimes
that.
just as a cameo.
I voted for Kodos.
Yeah, they make appearances sometimes, but the majority of their appearances are in Treehouse of Horror. They've been in every single one. I love, the after the first season, they started the scary pseudonyms like Bat Graining, and all of the creators and everybody that works on it gets a scary name in the credits.
And that's been used in a lot of different things
Yeah.
since then.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Is this
Jeff.
part of your character that
Yep,
you're
that's
like,
what he does.
Hey.
word?
Hey.
The Treehouse of Horror episodes themselves have been nominated for 3 Emmys.
Sure.
Just for them. My favorite one is the second season one where you have the monkey paw that grants wishes. You have the Twilight Zone type of one where Bart is living in the Twilight Zone. Just a lot of really fun, and some of the most memorable episodes of The Simpsons for me are Treehouse of Horror episodes.
I'm all in on that. Yes.
Yeah, I sat and watched a lot of these over the last week.
Where do you got those on?
I pull them off of the internet.
Don't you have the DVD? You don't have the DVDs?
I sold the DVD collection. Yeah.
Haven't there been some seasons where they're so far behind production-wise that the Treehouse of Horror airs much after Halloween?
I don't know.
Okay.
Because I kind of
might have
checked out
happened one
watching
year.
it live like season 10 probably.
Right.
I just kind of started cherry picking. So, yeah, there you go. That's my number 9.
Nice. I think that's your number 9.
It is, which means Anthony Danu.
I'm gonna have to borrow those from you. For my number 9, I'm
Borrow
sneak-
what?
I'm-
What's he going to borrow?
Treehouse of Horrors. Yeah. You have a special secret, like a separate. I guess you don't have it anymore. It's on the internet. I'll figure it out.
Okay.
Anyway, for my number 9, I'm talking about my favorite EP of all time. It is A Fire Inside, AFI, All Hallows Eve.
So you're rubbing my knee. Don't worry about it.
All right. Oh, he is.
No touch.
I'll take some of that. I'll get in there. You got a nice knee.
Yeah,
You got
I
a
know,
nice set
I
of
know.
knees. I'm talking about All Hallows Eve. This is AFI's EP from 1999. Fall Children, The Halloween, The Misfits, the cover, The Boy Who Destroyed the World, Total Immortal. My favorite punk band. I'm not really into emo music, I guess. I don't know what you would consider AFI, but they might fall into that genre. But this is what I'm all about, especially this time of year. I love AFI at any time, but this album or this EP around this time of year is one of my absolute favorites. And
Hey, Honky Tonk Man, how often do you listen to this?
I don't understand a word he just said.
what about that?
It's all pops and buzzes up here.
What about that Steel Pulse? Some Naya Bingi Voyage.
Are those things listed, the song titles?
Those
Fall
are song
Children,
titles
Halloween?
from
Okay,
All,
good.
All Hallows Eve.
Oh, God. I love it.
Recently, actually, just last year, the singer of AFI did a side project with all the fellas from No Doubt. They're from the same area in California, so there was kind of a mashup of the band of No Doubt and the singer of AFI. That
No
was,
doubt.
that
It's
was
like,
pretty
we
good.
can't. Gwen's not returning our calls.
Yeah,
We need a singer.
something. Yeah, she's on NBC now.
Yeah, she
and
seems to have
Yeah,
forgotten
we haven't
us.
seen her in a while.
Send help.
So there you go. All Hallows Eve.
All Hallows Eve. All right.
Your favorite EP of all time?
I think it's my favorite EP of all time. It's
EPs
certainly my favorite band.
What about Jar of Flies?
Jar of Flies is very good, but I will take AFI All Hallows Eve over that all day. All Hallows Eve EP, yes.
What about that mashup of Mark Gama shows I made for you?
Oh,
Doesn't get any better than that. That was
release that.
dubstep, was it? Was it dubstep?
A little dubstep, a little emo,
Yeah.
a little trance jazz. Hey, I'm going to do my number 8 if it's okay with you guys.
I'm okay with
Unless
it.
we have to take a commercial break to recognize our sponsors.
commercial break.
Okay, let's skip that.
Screw them.
I'm going to talk about a 3rd season episode of News Radio entitled very imaginatively Halloween. And I have a special affection for this episode because the premise of the episode is that Jimmy James, the station owner, played by Stephen Root, is having a follow-up to his previous year's Halloween party that all the staff had a great time at because there was an open bar and everybody on News Radio likes drinking. And he's not going to invite any of them to his party this year because you know why?
Tell me.
None of them wanted to wear costumes.
That's not
Two-
cool.
Yeah,
I hate it when somebody
Can
doesn't
you
want to wear a
hate it when
costume.
people think
It's
they're
the
too cool
worst.
to wear a costume?
Too cool or too lame? I'm not sure.
So they all decided to suck it up and wear costume. The only one who wore a costume at the previous party was Andy Dick says he went as a motorcycle enthusiast, and everybody else says, no, you were a gay biker. And so anyway, so Dave Foley dresses as a woman, and then that upsets Lisa because she says he looks better than she does in her dress. And there's some good humor there about how attractive Dave Foley looks in a dress. Of course, the kids in the hall did a lot of drag.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Side note on that, I want to ask you, Jeff. What are your top 3 moments of Dave Foley in drag? Does this hit it?
I think this is 1 through 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah, nice.
What about the It's Pat movie?
I've never seen the It's Pat
I
movie.
guess I don't know if it's considered drag though, because we don't know if his character.
Time for androgyny.
What? Yeah. So
I have to. I should just take a weekend and just torture myself by watching all the SNL movies because I haven't seen Superstar or
Could
Night
you
at the
imagine?
Roxbury or It's Pat or The Ladies' Man. That was a movie too, wasn't it? Ladies'
Yep.
Man.
Yeah, that was okay.
yeah, that's disgusting.
Leon Filth.
And then a side note about this episode. There's some uncomfortableness actually because there's a psychic at this Halloween party. She does a reading on Bill McNeil, played by Phil Hartman, and she says that he will die in the year 2032. And so the whole episode, he's worried about his mortality, and he talks about dying.
I'm gonna die in 40 years.
And yes, he talks. And of course, watching Phil Hartman talking about dying is a little sad these days. But there's a good part at the end of the episode where he's dancing at the party, and he says, "Play Rum Shaker or some reasonable facsimile." And then at the end, he Andy Dick dresses as a gay construction worker. So that's another good joke. So anyway, that's my number 8. The news radio where everybody was too cool to wear costumes.
I went
until they were forced to.
I went to a Halloween
just
party.
like me.
In 2001, I went to a Halloween party. I was living overseas. A buddy of mine called me up, said, "Hey, we're having a Halloween party over at my place. Come on over. It's gonna be a good time." I said, "We dressing up?" He said, "Yeah." So I always normally go all out for it. So I had shaved my head, and I had this whole demonic costume that involved a ton of paint. Painting my head and doing all this, getting into this costume. My wife dressed as dead Supergirl, which was a good costume. We show up, nobody's dressed up. Nobody. We're just hanging out watching movies. I'm there in full face paint. We're just watching movies. I still bring it up to him this day. Remember that time?
Jeff must have had a similar experience because he refuses to wear face paint.
Well, I just don't like face paint. I haven't had any experiences. My life is free of experiences.
You ever go to a New Jersey Devils game fully painted?
Did you ever,
We're the Devils!
Did you ever go to a Turkish prison?
I like movies about gladiators, Jeff.
So
all right.
I'm done with my number 8.
Well, good.
I cede the floor to you, Mr. Rabbit.
Floor accepted. I will take it for my number 8. And my number 8 is just simply a song from a movie. It is the theme to Halloween, composed and performed by John Carpenter. The theme to a great horror movie, a theme that gives me the chills every time I hear it.
If only we could hear it now.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, I just wet myself.
This theme gets me every single time. I have one of our Halloween decorations at the house. If you come trick or treating, is this little skull that motion activated lights up and plays this theme. And some years sometimes I forget to turn the motion activator off, and it'll be the middle of the night, and a shadow of the tree will set it off, and it's 3:00 in the morning, and this theme starts going off on my porch. It's
Shadow
terrifying.
of the tree? Is that what you tell your kids?
Whatever it is. Yeah, guys, it's just a shadow. Don't worry. This theme song, I think, is the greatest. And John Carpenter has reprised it for the new Halloween movie, a little updated version, but it all remains the same. It's terrifying to me.
So explain to me, John Carpenter, he wrote this.
Yes, he
And
composed it and performed it, and then directed the movie that it was about.
Well, I know he directed the movie, but does he have a long history of music composition? Has he released any recordings besides this?
He just re-released. They just re-released something from the early this that he did.
He's done a couple of things. In fact, if you listen,
Big Trouble in Little China, is that right?
Yes, he did that. If you listen to this week's It's Time for 5, I talk about there's a guy named Daniel Davies, I believe. He is the son of the guitar player for the Kinks, and he is also the godson of John Carpenter, who has spent the last 20 years working with John Carpenter, honing his skills, and he put out an album of music that is very much like this. It's really interesting stuff. Look up Daniel Davies; he's good stuff. But anyways, John Carpenter's Halloween.
So the film is not number
not the film.
8.
Just
It's
this
the
song
music.
alone. This song gets me. This song, I see Michael Myers coming in my sleep when I hear
But
this
yeah,
music.
you would the song would be it would not have the same connotations without being related to the film.
Well,
obviously.
but this song has also, if you watch Stranger Things, this song has been borrowed for the Stranger Things theme song. It's very heavy related to this. So many things of this genre have borrowed from this theme song. So very inspiring. That's my number 8.
Bradley Cooper wrote some of the music for Star is Born.
Yeah?
Yeah, very
None of it
similar.
sounded like this,
very
though.
similar situation.
Yeah. Not one of them sounded like this.
Did John Carpenter hang out with Eddie Vedder before he wrote this?
I think he became Eddie Vedder. There you go. All right.
Nice.
The new.
All right, very good, very good. For my number 8, I've got scary books for kids. There's two specifically that come to mind, or at least two different series of books. And that is the Scary Stories, or Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, that came out, written by Alvin Schwartz, illustrations by Stephen Gamble. First one in 81, and then 84 and 91. These, to me, like when I was a kid, like these were the most sought after books, were the short, scary stories books. Mm-hmm. I don't know if either of you guys are familiar, or if this is.
I am.
You are familiar.
Isn't
Okay.
Guillermo del Toro? He's working on a series of these.
Oh, really? See, I was wondering about that
He's
because.
working on. I think it was del Toro was working on making like a series off of
Oh,
these.
see, I would love that because.
That could be
Goose-
that could be totally made up.
I hope that it's real. I hope that it's a reality because the other one, Goosebumps, was depicted in not just the mid '90s TV show, but also a couple of movies with Jack Black, and the second one just came out a couple weeks ago that you saw.
Yep.
Well, you're a fan,
Both of them really enjoyable movies. Yeah.
surprisingly, or
Yeah,
is that
yeah,
unfair
yeah.
to say?
No, good movies for adults and kids.
Okay, I like hearing that because I really loved both of these book series. And the Goosebumps one, the R.L. Stine, he's got a few other kids' spooky shows that are out as well. But it was the first time I had a book that would, at the bottom of the page, you could decide what happened next.
That's called the Choose Your Own Adventure.
Choose your own adventure. Do I?
I love Choose Your
Do
Own
I
Adventure.
do I go into up the ladder into the creepy attic? Do I take a left into grandmother's room?
You know, if you keep your finger in the page and never remove it, you can always go back. That's the rule I always had with myself on my numerous Choose Your Own
If you
Adventures.
didn't like it,
Do I
I can go ahead, but if
Like-
I don't take my finger out of that
Yeah.
page, I can go back.
well, then it sucks too.
do I
because
wear
then
the Do I wear the codpiece or the buttless chaps?
Exactly.
you
Oh,
go
I've
one
got
way
one
and
of
then
those, too.
you get eaten by a bat or something, and the story's over after 17 pages. And you're like, well, I guess.
I still
guess
have
I'm
all
done.
my Choose Your Own Adventure.
Do you
books
really?
from a
What are
kid.
what are some other ones that
Oh, I
you
don't know.
remember?
I've probably 40 of them. I got one though a couple years ago for my birthday that was called Love on Fire Island, which was an adult Choose Your Own
Hey, now.
Adventure.
With Fabio on the
Don't
cover.
leave it for the kids.
My goodness.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's so many. Some of them, there's the Spanish Inquisition. Jeff, you know about the Spanish Inquisition.
Nobody expects the Spanish
Amen.
Inquisition.
Absolutely. Yeah. All kinds of them.
Yeah,
Good
there's
stuff.
one. There's one with the Abominable Snowman.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I had that one.
Good stuff.
Good stuff indeed.
All right, so that wraps up my number 8, scary books for kids.
Scary books.
Are we on to number 7 now, Jeff Robbins?
Let's move on to the round of 7 on our special Halloween-themed episode where we talk about pop culture, Halloween-related pop culture things.
I'm liking this so far. We're having fun.
I always have fun when I'm with. Well, I forget your names, but
Jerk. Unnecessarily hurtful.
my number 7 is a Halloween-themed episode of the wonderful HBO series Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh.
This is from the second season of the show. It is
So glad you have this.
It is called Trick or Treat. A lot of these Halloween shows are very stupidly named, but this was I watched this today. It's all the Curb Your Enthusiasm episodes, and obviously Seinfeld before it. It could be very intricately, lots of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Lots of things going on. I'm gonna see if I can break this down to just the Halloween portions. So it's Halloween, and first we see Larry David, who a lot of people would consider to be kind of curmudgeonly. But we see the kids come into the door. He hands out the candy. He's very nice. And then 2 older kids come to the door. They claim to be about 13. They look more like 16, 17. Right. And they're not wearing costumes. They're just dressed in regular street clothes.
Yeah.
And he refuses to give them candy because that's. Well, I wrote some of the quotes down, I think, but he takes. Yeah, you're using Halloween for your own selfish purposes. Isn't there a Halloween cutoff?
I need exasperated Larry David voice with these.
Sorry, I'm not going to impress. So anyway, he sends them away without giving them candy, and then the next morning they TP his house.
Larry!
Exactly. Cheryl Hines screams at him. They TP his house. They write bald blank hole
Yep.
on his door.
It's so good. It's a hate crime.
he says, because they're people.
My people
They're a group of people. And then a cop says, "Hey, I'm bald, and I'm not offended."
You're bald by choice.
Excuse me, sir. You're bald by choice.
We don't include you.
And the cops are not on his side at all. They talk about a social contract that you make on Halloween, and how he violated that social contract.
My favorite quote of that entire episode is, "Trick or treat. You don't give the treat. You get trick." Just so great.
So and then what happens at the end is, and this gets into another plot point, but he finds the girl. She's the daughter of this other guy that he had a run-in with earlier in the episode. The father doesn't care because he already thinks Larry David's a jerk because of something else that's happened
because he's Larry David.
Something that's happened earlier, and what's nice about this episode, a lot of times Larry doesn't get his he gets his comeuppance, or this other guy, this Walter is the character's name, gets his comeuppance at the end because Larry brings a orchestra to play on his lawn a theme Wagner that he's very upset with because he thought Wagner was anti-Semitic and it was Hitler's favorite composer.
Right.
And I don't know if that's true or not.
Larry's humming it. And
there's this whole other subplot about Cheryl and this guy sitting at a table. They're based on a double date, and Cheryl and this other guy are totally ignoring Larry and this other guy's wife, and he just, as a joke, says, "We should have sex sometime."
Yeah.
To see if they'll,
if they hear him,
catch up, catch on to it. And she takes it very seriously, and that ends up to be a whole nother comedy of errors. So that is my number 7, the second season episode, Trick or Treat of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I love that.
The great Larry David.
I watched that this week as well.
Was it on your list?
It was on my list at one point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I bumped it into honorable mention territory.
Glad that I was able to talk about it.
I appreciate that. Instead, on my list of pop culture time capsule, my number 7, get that down there, is also an episode of a show that is well loved here. I watched all of these things I'm talking about again this week, just out of pure joy. I'm talking about Freaks and Geeks. The episode is called Tricks and Treats. It is an amazing episode. You have Lindsay, played by Linda Cardellini, who she'd promised her mom, I'm gonna stay home and hand out candy with you. And her friends convince her to come out and go pranking with her. So she ditches her mom, goes out pranking. What I love is they're out pranking during broad daylight. It's not like nighttime trick-or-treating. It's broad daylight. They're out there.
It's harder to be funny in the daytime or at nighttime.
Rather than handing out candy, she's out there with her burnout friends. They're knocking down mailboxes. They're stomping on pumpkins, and they're throwing eggs. Then you also have the younger generation of Sam, Bill, and Neil, who all decide to dress up. They might be 1 year too late, but Sam just really wants to dress up. He's Gork from
Day the Earth Stood Still.
Still, of course. Bill is Jamie Summers.
So the Bionic Woman?
The Bionic Woman. Everything about him, where he's like fake talking on the phone, like, "Oh, let me put it up to my Bionic ear. Stop yelling." And then, "Sorry, Mom, you can use the phone now." Like, Bill is amazing as Jamie Summers. Everything she does. And Neil, of course, is Groucho Marx. The opening of this episode with Bill saying, "I'll drink this much of anything for $10." Just is.
That's right.
They put this thing together. It's
nothing
great.
from under the sink, though.
Yeah, it's great. You have the song "Gonna Raise Hell" that they keep refraining to. The great Cheap Trick song as they're out screaming around the neighborhood. You have the urban legends surrounding Halloween as their mom is handing out baked cookies. Oh, you can't do that. There's people put razor blades in them, and then the other guy who's friends with Sam and Neil and Bill talking about, I heard the hippies are going to put some LSD in the
Harris.
It's heroin.
Oh, heroin, yeah.
Yeah. Harris.
Yeah, Harris. And, of course, Sam gets egged. My favorite thing, though, is just a little kind of meta moment in this is when you have Joe Flaherty, who plays their dad, who is forced to dress up like some people I know, and puts on a cape, does a little vampire. He's dressed up as a vampire, a Dracula almost, and I love it because that man, Joe Flaherty, was well known for being Count Floyd for many years and in several different shows. He took the Count Floyd character. I thought it was really cute to have him do that. So, you like Count Floyd, Jeff?
No comment.
Very good. I figured we'd have that. So that's my number 7, Freaks and Geeks.
That's in my honorable mentions category as well. At one point, that was on my list. Jeff and I spoke of this episode a few weeks ago.
We might be speaking of it more later.
Figured we might.
Can't wait. All right. So that leaves me with number 7.
Yep.
Wait, can I interject?
Please do.
Real quick, while you tee up your number 7. Vikings are up 13-10.
Nobody cares.
Against who?
The Saints.
Saints.
What a World Series score?
Go ahead,
Now
Anthony.
we're talking.
2-1. Red Sox are up.
All right. Very good.
All right. So for my number 7 on this Halloween episode of Pop Culture Time Capsule, I've got songs called Halloween. And I'm talking about 3 of my favorites here. Now, you're listening to the Misfits version of Halloween, or their song called Halloween. A cover of that by AFI, of course, appears on All Hallows EP that I spoke of earlier on
What
the
does
list.
AFI stand for?
A Fire Inside. I did actually reference that as well earlier.
Yeah.
The F isn't what I think it is.
A fire? A fire inside?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
What do you want? You think it's the AFI films? Is that what you were?
Go ahead.
Jesus. A couple of other Halloween songs would be by the Dead Kennedys. You also have Dave Matthews has a song called Halloween featuring Tim Reynolds. My favorite, though, would be the Misfits or the AFI versions. And I'm going to cue up the Dead Kennedys for you in a second here. But number 7, songs called Halloween.
Crank it up, man. I want to hear it.
Do you? This is Dead Kennedys. This is off of Plastic Surgery Disaster.
This is like Freedom Rock. Is that the Dead Kennedys? Turn it up, man.
Crank it up, man.
I'm not a big Dave Matthews guy, but his song Halloween, the live version with Tim Reynolds, is pretty solid. But I prefer the Halloween by the Dead Kennedys that you're hearing now, or, of course, the Misfits. Which is pretty much a Halloween-themed band in a lot of cases.
Yeah, for the most part.
Which they were on my list in some form or fashion previously as well. But I snuck them on here as songs called Halloween. Jeff, what do you got for number 6?
Oh, you're done?
Sure.
You can take more time if you want.
I think we got it. I think we got it there.
My number 6 on our special Halloween-themed pop culture time capsule list, because it's Halloween soon, Wednesday.
It is.
Holy cow.
That's coming right up. Kids, get out trick or treat. Get your orange and black gross candies.
Don't forget to vote.
What is your favorite Halloween candy, Mr. Rabbit? Is it Red Vines?
Well, that's not a Halloween candy.
Can be.
Like, what am I going to get in my sack that I'll be happy to see?
Can you
reach in there?
Can you hit the delete button on that
Dump
word?
button right now. I like an Almond Joy. I like getting a nice fun size Almond Joy.
What's in your sack?
I reach in the sack. I pull out a nice candy with some nuts in it.
Ooh, you got nuts in your sack?
I do.
What's your favorite Halloween candy, Anthony?
I'm a Reese's guy overall, so I'll take your Reese's peanut butter cup, but Reese's Pieces.
What about the best of both worlds? We are handing out this year the Reese's peanut butter cups that have Reese's Pieces inside.
Unbelievable.
them.
Oh, I'm going to the
That's what
rabbit's
we're
house.
handing out. Come on over, boys.
2018, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
We've done it, guys. We've discovered it.
Okay, my number 6 on my list is if anybody remembers the television program called The Office, starring Steve Carell, that aired on NBC for many years. They did a Halloween episode basically every year. I think they did a total of 6 Halloween episodes. And I'm going to focus here on the one for the second season. The second season of The Office could be one of the best seasons of any sitcom in recent memory.
When they found their footing and broke away from the Ricky Gervais
What season? I'm
guideline.
sorry.
Season 2.
Season 2, okay. I agree with that.
And I'll talk about that because, they only did 12 episodes of The Office in the UK.
Right.
So they could sort of just get away with having Ricky Gervais's character, David Brent, be a little, he's hilarious, don't get me wrong, sort of one-dimensional, just sort of a doofus.
Yeah.
This is the episode where Michael Scott bring a little humanity to Michael Scott, to this character. And specifically, in this episode, he's supposed to fire somebody. He's been told he has to fire somebody by the end of the month to save money. And, of course, he handles it extremely badly.
Right.
he
trying to get people to quit.
yes, he takes, he's taking advice from everybody.
Trying to get Toby to leave.
From everybody in the office. He tries to fire Toby, even though Toby, doesn't report to Michael.
Yeah.
And he has a scene with Creed when he, decides he's going to fire Creed, and Creed basically refuses to be fired. Yeah. So then they do kind of the sitcom thing, which is they pull some guy out of the back who we've never seen before. Right. We have no emotional attachment to. The guy's name is Devin, for whatever that's worth.
The sacrificial lamb.
And then they, get rid of him, and everybody goes drinking at Poor Richard's.
But what makes this a Halloween episode, Jeff?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. Very good.
No, okay. Well, it's set out Halloween. They're all dressed. Everybody's dressed, in Halloween. But so anyway, this. We feel bad for Michael, which I don't think we ever felt that bad for the David Brent character, because he was just such a doofus. But it's obvious that he's having a real hard time firing somebody, because he just doesn't want to basically, he doesn't
want to be the bad guy.
He doesn't want to be the bad guy. And then at the end of the episode, he is. We see him sort of cleaning up his mess. Devin threw a pumpkin on his car, and he's got to clean that up, and it's just sort of. We see the kind of the misery that is Michael Scott, and then at the end of the episode, he's sitting in his house and he's kind of depressed, and then the doorbell rings and it's trick-or-treaters, and he's just really pleasant and nice and cute with the kids and tells them how great they look, and he opens the candy and the candy spills on the ground, and he's like, oh, you guys should have all of it, it's been on the ground. And it's just it's the first time that we really feel like Michael Scott is basically a really decent human being.
Mm-hmm.
He might be a doofus, and
he just wants to be everyone's best friend.
He might not be a good boss, but he's just a really a nice guy. And
was this the episode with like Three-Hole Punch Jim?
Three-Hole Punch Jim, and Michael's Two-Headed Michael.
Two-Headed Michael, yeah.
Dwight is the Sith Lord.
Yep.
Pam is some sort of cat.
Right.
Oscar is dressed as a woman, and Michael makes some sort of homophobic remark about, you finally are admitting it, or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's also very non-PC to the Mindy Kaling character, because she's obviously of Indian descent, and she's dressed as Dorothy, and he sort of thinks that she should be dressed as the girl from Bend It Like Beckham.
Yeah, right. Awful.
And he says to Oscar, you're showing your colors. But anyway, there you go. I'm
that's a good
going on too long. But that is my number 6, the Halloween, this actually episode called Halloween.
Halloween.
From
This is Halloween.
Second season 2 of The Office.
My number 6 is also another television episode. This is one I watched all 3 of their Halloween episodes today. And so I kind of narrowed it down to this one. I think this is the best of the 3. It is from the television show Community, which I think is one of the best written television shows in recent years.
I agree.
Most consistently well written. And the episode I'm going with is Epidemiology. It is a great zombie episode where they're having a huge Halloween party there at the community college. The dean is
first season?
No, this is second
or third.
Okay,
I think.
I think it's actually third.
Okay, because there was a Halloween party in the first one, but it's
right.
not
There's
that
a Halloween party in the first one.
Pat Morita comes and starts kicking ass.
That's the one where Chevy Chase shows up as the Beastmaster.
Anthony Michael Hall.
And, but this one, Epidemiology, is the one where the dean is dressed up as Lady Gaga. He's having the big party. He supplied the food with some expired MREs that he got from an Army-Navy store. And suddenly a virus breaks out, a zombie flesh-eating virus where people are trying to eat each other. And it's just it's a fun episode. There's some great costume work there. Ken Jeong dressed up as Dorothy Hamill. Just a lot of really fun costumes. And it's actually a really good zombie episode, as everyone is kind of one by one taken down. You have some great aliens costumes in there. It comes down to Donald Glover as Sigourney Weaver trying to fight off these zombies. And then they find out if they just turn the air conditioning on, it'll make everybody fine again. It's
That's
fine.
right. Oh
I think it's a great episode, though.
Do you think Community held up over the 5 or 6 seasons, whatever it was?
Yeah, I think it's really consistently strong. I think the writing on that, Dan Harmon, is just incredible.
I'm really glad to hear you say that. I think Community. Gosh darn it, I can't stop doing this because I talk over here, but I want to see you guys.
Right.
So I have to make my points with my
I see
hands.
you.
Okay.
I see you.
I think Community is awesome. I think Dan Harmon is great. He's done a few other shows that are really good. He at one time. Did he have to leave the show, or he didn't finish with the show after the first couple seasons, right?
No, he left.
Or he threatened to quit.
I think he got fired.
Yeah,
because he wasn't.
So he did end up getting fired.
I think he wasn't turning in shows in on time.
Okay.
Wasn't that the main issue?
But that's of this decade is maybe my favorite sitcom. But I'm glad to hear that you like that. The Dean also hilarious. The first Halloween episode they talk about Senor Chang. Ken Song is talking to people about Mexican Halloween.
Right.
And he's saying, which may be offensive for those of you who know Mexican Halloween as a sexual position.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
Oh my goodness.
It's good stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, I think for sitcoms, I have that and Arrested Development as like two of the
Absolutely
most well-written sitcoms of the last 15 years. So that's my choice.
Fair to say.
And Good Luck Charlie.
Of course. Everyone loves Good Luck Charlie. There you go. Number 6, Community.
Good stuff. I'm going to combine a little bit something that Jameson talked about earlier with my number 6. This is going to be adult cartoon special. So I'm not just talking about The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror, which I love. I grew up on. Some of my favorite Simpsons episodes. I used to have, there's no DVR, so I would use a VHS, VCR, and tape Simpsons episodes on Sunday nights. Just specifically for the Halloween ones for Treehouse of Horror. And that's where some of the best episodes were. You talked about Kodos. There's a great ska band. I voted for Kodos from the Minnesota and Wisconsin area because of those characters. But Mr. Burns is a vampire. And then one of my favorites is also Homer becomes a donut.
Yeah.
And has to deal with eating himself.
Right.
And he can't pick at it, and Marge is yelling at him, but he wakes up one day as a donut and has to deal with this. His favorite thing that, he can always feed himself with himself at any time. And so you go through Homer kind of running out and slowly becoming nothing as he continues to eat himself as a donut, which I think is great. I haven't really stayed up with him in this millennium, but I love the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror is awesome. But also the South Park Spooky Vision episodes, the Pink Eye Zombie episode, which was one of their first 4 or 5 episodes, which we talked a little bit about on our 1997 episode a couple weeks ago. In season 2, I believe when they began the real Spooky Vision thing, where Barbra Streisand was in the Spooky Vision, where every I guess scene of the episode, Barbra Streisand's head was in each corner. Every time they would go to commercial and come back, it was a different Barbra Streisand photo with the word Spooky Vision. Supposedly this is because of her negative reactions to season 1's Mega Streisand episode featuring Robert Smith and Sidney Poitier. And,
I don't think Barbra Streisand has a great sense of humor. But
you do? Babs has got it?
I don't think so.
Okay. And then also in the season 2 episode, you had Stan's Aunt Flo coming to visit.
Yeah.
And she had a goldfish that she gave to Stan. Aunt Flo's visiting, a few days a month as she does.
Sure.
And but this fish is evil, and it's killing people or things.
Damn evil fish.
Yeah, damn evil fish. So a lot of the episode is about that. And then there's another one. This is either that same Spooky Fish episode or season 3, where there's the alternate versions of the South Park characters where they all have goatees, and Cartman's the opposite of himself, where all the other kids,
That's how you know somebody's
alternate world,
bad.
Kenny, Stan, and Kyle are really evil with their goatees, but Cartman is just the biggest sweetheart ever.
Yeah.
And the kids try and send real Cartman back to the alternate world because he's an evil POS, and try and keep the Cartman with the goatee. And then the first time they really stepped out of, at least as far as I know, consistently for an episode, having characters that weren't the regular South Park style of animation, they had the fellas from Korn. The band Korn were on the show, and they were animated quite a bit differently, more so like Scooby-Doo, and that was kind of the plot line behind was that Korn is on tour and they're in their own mystery machine or whatever, and they got their van and they're just trying to solve all these spooky mysteries.
Come on, gang.
Yeah, and it's super hokey, and there's a pirate ghost and just classic stuff that you would see on
Big
Scooby-Doo.
homage to Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, and that's completely what it was, but it was cool to see them do Korn kind of as the Scooby-Doo characters and not just in that same animation that we had used to seen for 3 or 4 years up to this point. This is probably 99, 2000. But I really love both of these adult cartoons doing their Halloween episodes. They're a lot of fun. They do it pretty much each year. So number 6, adult cartoon specials: The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror and South Park Spooky Vision.
I feel like Jeff is kind of an adult cartoon, especially with that Johnny Bravo hair he's got tonight.
I'm sweating like a one-lip girl in a kissing booth. My head is very moist.
Yeah, I had to remove my hat because it was getting hot.
You know the teacher on Freaks and Geeks with the long hair?
Yeah.
What's his name
It is
in the show?
Yeah. I can't pull her.
Mr.
Guy has backup pumpkins. I know that. Smash his pumpkin.
His name is Jeff. Their band is God. What is it?
They do a mean version of Up on Cripple Creek.
Alice Cooper's.
Oh, School's Out.
No, it's not. It's I'm 18.
Oh, you're right.
Lights
I'm 18.
full
You're right.
on my face and hands.
You're right.
Mr. Russo. Is it Jeff Russo?
Thank you.
There you
All
go.
right.
Really love
Settled.
that character.
Got that figured out.
Mr. Russo.
Mr. Russo. All right. We are in the top 5.
Hey,
Top 5.
coming up on number 5. This one going out long distance style to Fred over there in Afghanistan. No,
Trempealeau County.
we are doing number 5 on my list is something that you're talking about, traditions with Treehouse of Horror and traditions with South Park. My Halloween television tradition, which is no longer occurring for obvious reasons. Starting in 1980, David Letterman used to do this bit on his show where he would spotlight new Halloween costumes of the year, and basically the setup was the same every year. He would be at a fake house, doorbell would ring, he'd open the door, and there'd be some kid dressed as a cryogenetically frozen Walt Disney or something, really, really inappropriate for a child to be dressed as. It usually was mocking celebrities of the day or current news stories of the day. Started off in 1980 on the morning show as more straightforward. He would give the kids candy, and then it morphed into he would give them very odd gifts like bowling shoes or thermometers or things like that.
Sure.
But it was always fun. The kids were always confused as hell. The kids never seemed to know what they were doing, and he would talk to the kids in a very deadpan way, which would confuse them even more, and he would say things that they just didn't understand. He made no effort to make sure that they enjoyed themselves or that they really understood what was going on.
No need.
He took pleasure in their bewilderment. So that is, that was, since they only did it once a year, he never really got tired of it because it was just once a year thing. It wasn't like Rosanna Dan or something like that, or the cheerleaders on SNL. So that is my number 5, the yearly Halloween costumes on Letterman. And you can watch them. You can watch them on YouTube, I think, pretty much all of them. There's a ton of those clips on YouTube.
I like this. Dave Letterman getting 2 shots on your list.
Well, the other one was really Dave Grohl.
Flavor Dave.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to double up here pretty soon as well. So
Are you?
Get your
This mask is getting hot.
loosen your belt.
Oof. All right. I have no ties, no cheats this week. I'm so proud of myself. Everything's very straightforward.
I almost don't
Good job.
believe it.
I'm so proud of myself.
Saints are up 17-13
Finally did
at
it.
the half.
All right, my number 5 is probably the most recent thing on my list. It is it probably would have been higher, but a spinoff of it came out, which kind of lessened my love of it, and that is Saturday Night Live put on a little sketch a few years ago. They brought in the great Tom Hanks to perform out of nowhere this character, David S. Pumpkins. The spooky elevator, 100 floors of frights. And 98 of them seem to have this character that nobody knows what it is. David S. Pumpkins. It's Tom Hanks in his pumpkin suit and 2 skeletons just performing with the... and every
Bobby Moynihan, and who's the other skeleton?
Mikey Day.
Thank you.
And everyone ends with, "Any questions?" And immediately I was hooked. I watched that thing the next day 20 times in a row. Loved it. It was one of those viral things, pop culture phenomenons that took off immediately. And everyone wanted more. And then we got more, and I wanted less of it because we got the David S. Pumpkins animated Halloween special, which was it was difficult to get through. I was kind of surprised. I watched it, and there was a couple of like, how about that? Look at that.
Is that a TV Funhouse?
No, it was It was on NBC.
It seemed
prime time.
like a children's special.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like they
didn't seem edgy or satirical.
No,
or
it seemed like they
humorous
wanted
at
it to
all.
be one of those things that every year NBC would play around Halloween time for the kids.
Right.
But it was just kind of blah, and I don't know. But David S. Pumpkins himself is great. I saw the pumpkin suit the other day, and if they would have had it my size, I would have been sitting here as David S. Pumpkins tonight. Unfortunately, I wear husky, and they didn't have it in a husky. But it might be the best thing Tom Hanks has ever done.
Whoa, easy there. I might have something at my number 5 that disagrees
What about
with
Man
that.
with One Red Shoe?
I mean, it's just edges that out. So, anyways, my number 5 is David S. Pumpkins.
All right, my number 5.
There's a good reveal at the end. I mean, there is actually somewhat of a genuine surprise at the end where he sort of appears when you don't
mean
expect.
of the sketch?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Not that it's scary necessarily,
No.
but yeah,
pretty
he does actually scare.
Yeah.
Who's
he
in
gets
this?
to scare
Who's in this sketch?
Beck Bennett.
Beck Bennett and it doesn't
Bryant?
matter. Doesn't matter. I'm sorry.
Right.
As soon as somebody starts talking about that sketch, I have to want to watch it.
Any questions? Yeah. Kenan Thompson as the elevator operator.
I'm sorry.
Are you bringing it up right now?
Yeah.
Our listeners probably want to listen to you watching it.
No, they don't.
There's nothing better than
That would be very lame.
YouTube off camera.
Yeah. Oh, I love this part.
Oh, wait, listen real quick. Careful, you can hear him watching it. All right.
Okay, for my number 5, I've got maybe my favorite bit of Tom Hanks, and I'm talking about frighteningly funny or over-the-top comedy horrors. I've got Young Frankenstein, Ghostbusters, Addams Family, Scary Movie, Beetlejuice, Army of Darkness. Of course, they've got the show now, Ash vs. the Evil Dead, that I think is in its 3rd season, if I'm not mistaken. That's now on Netflix and other places. Shaun of the Dead, another great one. Zombieland is pretty solid. And this one I just remembered and added because you said Tom Hanks just there, but The Burbs. I got to throw The Burbs on there.
Anthony's really covered the movies for us tonight.
good job, Anthony.
Listed off 27 movies.
Yeah. There's about 10 of them there. But these are some of my favorite things to watch around Halloween time. Is the funnier movies. I'm not a big horror movie guy, but I will get to some of those as we get down on our list. But I think watching some of the funny or comedy horror movies is a lot more fun, a little bit more up my alley. But Jameson, any of these catch your eye?
I like them all.
Army of Dark. Oh, really? Army of Darkness. I know you're a fan of.
Yes.
What do you charge to go up your alley?
About $3.75, or a cheese curds with the Rock.
Good grief. I like the Ghostbusters, I like the Army of Darkness, I like the Burbs. What else did you say? You said some other movies.
Zombieland,
Like it.
Shaun of the
Beetlejuice?
Dead,
Love it. Great one.
Beetlejuice, Addams Family,
Yes.
Ghostbusters 1 and 2.
I love one.
Young Frankenstein. We
Great.
talked a little about earlier with our Peter Boyle.
What's wrong with Ghostbusters 2?
I don't like Ghostbusters 2 at all.
It's got Rick Moranis.
Hurricane Helms said that they should have just started with the courtroom scene recently on Twitter. I
Yeah.
read. Yes.
Ghostbusters 2 is rough.
What's up with that?
Oh, Kate McKinnon's in that.
Yes, Kate McKinnon, thank you. Not in Ghostbusters 2, in David S. Pumpkins. Thank you, Jeff.
A lot more Slimer in Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah. They really let Dan Aykroyd have his way with that movie.
You blaming that on? Why are you blaming that on Aykroyd?
Because he got to write the majority of that movie.
He wrote the first one too.
That was heavily with Ramis, though. And Aykroyd had a heavy hand in 2.
He didn't write 2 as much.
Ramis?
There's a
No.
new biography about Harold Ramis out, written by his daughter, called
Where?
Ghostbusters' Daughter. What's a book?
Oh, okay. Well, then I don't. Yeah, I
Never
don't
reading.
have
I'll
time.
never see it.
Reading's a big
Got
challenge.
this Eric Idle book that
Yeah, that's.
I read the first paragraph.
Did
though.
you?
Yeah,
It's
That's
still in my
bet-
backpack from the trip.
I bet that's more than both
I'll
of you
get to
guys.
I'll get to it.
Jeff doesn't want to confirm nor deny.
All right.
What do you think? What if you had to guess, Mr. Rabbit? What makes the David S. Pumpkins scene memorable?
Because it was so absurd. Because it just came out of nowhere and created a character out of nowhere that all of a sudden everyone was all about. And it's Tom Hanks
Being
being
goofy.
funny again.
Yeah.
Everyone's wanted funny Tom Hanks. Nobody wants the terminal Tom Hanks. Everyone wants funny Tom Hanks.
Really?
Yeah.
Bosom Buddies Tom Hanks?
Yeah, give it to me.
Yeah.
Buffy, come on.
I was always more of a Peter Scolari guy.
Well, yeah. Well, time will tell who's going to win that.
Are we moving on?
Sure.
Hey, it's the top of the hour, so I want to remind our listeners that you're listening to 103.5 FM The Sun, WLSP LP, Sun Prairie, Wisconsin.
Get it. Nice job.
My number 4 is episode of SNL that aired in October of 1977, going all the way back to the 3rd season. An SNL hosted by Charles Grodin, musical guest Paul Simon. Not really a Halloween-themed episode per se. There was a running gag in the show. It was not Halloween-related. However, it does include 2 of my favorite Halloween-themed sketches of all time. And speaking of Dan Aykroyd, he figures prominently in both of them. First, we have Consumer Probe with Erwin Mainway discussing his Halloween costumes that are probably not...
I want to be a spaceman.
Probably not that safe. And he takes some flack from Joan Face, played by Jane Curtin. The 4 costumes in question here are Johnny Space Commander mask, which is just a plastic bag and a rubber band. My favorite, Invisible Pedestrian. Just a black, all black suit, gloves and mask. And he says, "Don't you think that somebody wearing this is in grave danger of being hit by a car? It's not for blind kids." It says right on the label, not for blind kids.
Character.
And then you've got Johnny Combat action costume with an actual working rifle included. And then you have Johnny Human Torch. It's a bunch of oily rags and a lighter. Right. You put on the rags and light up the night. So that, and then also so that's one of my favorites of all time, actually. And then also in the 2nd season of the Coneheads, this seems crazy now with how SNL has been in the last 40 years, but they did the Coneheads a few times in the 2nd season, and then they said, everybody's probably tired of this. We're going to send them back to their planet Remulac. Yeah. Well, they decided, it's tough writing new things every week. So they brought him back.
Wait till we get a whole movie about him.
Well, that happened many years later. So here, this episode in the 3rd season was the return of the Coneheads, coming back to Earth from their planet, and Halloween, and the neighbors are upset because Beldar and Primat are giving out fried chicken embryos,
delicious,
and 6-packs of beer.
Yes,
which don't really the kids don't really the parents don't really agree with that much or appreciate that much. So that's about it. I'm going to stop right there. So that is my number 4 on my list.
The abrupt ending.
Rough ending?
I said abrupt ending.
Oh, Charles Grodin hosted SNL from 1977.
Is Charles Grodin funny? Can we settle? Is he funny? Was Charles Grodin a funny guy? Or was he just put in funny situations that made his career?
I think he's put in funny situations.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because the whole theme of this episode is that he doesn't understand that the show's live. Yeah. So that comes up several times. He wants to do more takes. Well, he can't do more takes. It's live show. Yeah, there you go.
I recently watched Midnight Run, and it got me wondering, is Charles Grodin funny?
Well, he's funny in that movie, isn't he?
I don't know if he is or not.
Kind of reminds me of Ed Begley Jr. as I bring up some of these pictures.
What about the Heartbreak Kid?
The one with Ben Stiller?
No, the one with Sybil Shepherd.
Oh yeah.
Ooh. What was her show?
What about Clifford?
Oh,
the Martin Short film.
Yeah,
that's
of course.
Laugh riot.
What was Sybil's show?
Didn't she have a show?
Yeah, it was called Sybil.
Was okay.
There was also Moonlighting.
And The Yellow Rose.
Ooh, Moonlighting
with Sam Elliott,
with Booger and Bruce Willis.
Yeah,
Sam Elliott is awesome.
Yeah, he is. Do you know what Sam Elliott's first movie he was ever in was?
Roadhouse.
No.
What?
Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid.
I believe it.
Where he met and married Catherine Ross.
He's rugged.
He is.
Yeah.
Ruggedly handsome?
Yeah. Plays a biker or a cowboy in 99% of his movies. Okay, so it's number 5 time, right? No, number 4?
Should be your 4.
Number 4.
I just did my number 4.
All right, my number 4 is a song.
Again, with the song.
Yeah, my number 4 is a song. Came out in 1998. It was brought to us by DJ Jazzy Jeff and his friend, the Fresh Prince. It's called "A Nightmare on My Street," a song that featured heavily some Freddy Krueger action, so much so that they were sued by New Line Cinema because they didn't ask to use Freddy Krueger's name, likeness, or voice in this song. The album, the vinyl...
So this was not written for a movie?
No. In fact... after the initial version came out, the first pressing, and they were sued, every version thereafter had to have a sticker on the front that said, "This has nothing to do with the movie. This is not a part of the Nightmare on Elm Street universe." But eventually, because they were trying to make a video the music video featuring Freddy Krueger in it, and that's when New Line was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. No, you don't get to just take our characters. But I love this song so much. A great use of Freddy Krueger and borrowing the Nightmare on Elm Street tune. I love it. It's tremendous, and the long extended album version is great with a lot of Freddy Krueger attacking jazz. Good stuff. Off a great album. He's the rapper, I'm the DJ. Love this album so much.
This is from what year?
1988.
Okay, I thought you said 98. I'm
No,
like,
no, no,
really?
no.
This came out after Big Willie Style? Are we sure about that?
This is 88.
Okay.
He's the
I
rapper,
gotcha.
I'm the DJ. What a great album.
What else is on that album?
Summer?
No. Summer was 93, 94.
Okay.
This is like Parents Just Don't Understand.
Okay.
This
Oh, that's
is
that
all
album.
those. This was the Fresh Prince album. Yeah. I wore this cassette out. But yeah, I love this song. I was playing it in the car yesterday, and the kids were jamming. They didn't know what it was, but they loved it. We played it a few times. So there you go.
Are we going to get sued now by
Yeah,
New Line
most likely.
Cinema?
New Line, bring it. I don't even think they exist anymore. Screw them. Bring it, New Line.
New Line Cinema.
Yeah, nobody listens or watches them. All right,
What's your favorite New Line movie? I got Ninja Turtles or Friday?
Friday all day.
Okay.
Isn't Boogie Nights a New Line movie?
Ooh,
What about Detroit Rock City?
Yeah, I'm cool on that one.
I really like that movie.
All right.
But we'll talk about that in 1999.
Dude, I'm getting creeped out.
Are you right now? Are you
Yeah.
okay? All right. For my number 4, I've got the scariest movies. And I'm talking about movies that I consider to be the scariest of all time. And they all start with the or the, depending on the cut of your jib, I guess. The Exorcist, The Omen, and The Conjuring. I might have some more on this later, but movies that I consider to be the scariest because I grew up going to Catholic school for 9 years. Whether I'm a believer or not, irrelevant. I find these movies to be the scariest. These are the ones that are more likely to make me sleep with the lights on or keep me up late at night. Is the movies that involve the Bible or God or religion of some sort, whether it be, I don't know, Stigmata or whatever else, even End of Days, huh? Arnold
Oh my God!
Arnold versus the devil? I didn't do that,
That
Jeff.
scared
I
me.
didn't do that. This is weird.
You're
What
irritating
just happened?
something. There was a spirit in the room.
This just fell on me. This just fell
My
on
goodness.
me. We're just sitting here. I didn't do anything.
Dang! Be careful what you say,
Frightening.
Anthony.
Jesus.
You called down the spirit.
Yeah. So I guess my
Holy
number 4
crap.
is over, where I'm talking about the... Turn on that
That
lava
was
lamp, too.
terrifying.
That is terrifying.
Did it break?
I want to see that back on
That
Facebook
was
Live.
Frightening.
Jesus.
Oh. Combined with this
man.
music, all of it, I don't like any of
I don't
this
like
now.
any part of this. Jeff, I don't know if I'll be here tomorrow for Sports Bologna with Roni. Might need some time. Maybe get an exorcist in here. Maybe a priest. Some of those
It
fellas
just
who
about
do those
stopped my
TV
heart.
shows on Thursdays. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
I kind of want to move on now. The scariest movies: The Exorcist, The Omen, and The Conjuring. You could probably throw The Shining in there too, but I'm not as big on that one.
Yeah.
Just because it starts with the?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, check. Am I,
Halfway through the.
do I have sound today?
Yeah.
Great.
Hey,
Your mic has been off for the past 50 minutes.
I'm going to go on to my number. I'm going to go on to my number 3,
Please do.
and
Holy
it's
cow.
Jameson discussed this already, so I'll try to be quick. This is the Freaks and Geeks episode, Tricks or Treats, which was the second episode of this wonderful series. And what I liked about this show, in addition to everything Jameson talked about, which was all awesome, this is really where we see Lindsay trying to work her way into the group of Seth Rogen, Jason Segel, James Franco, Busy Phillips. And you mentioned it in passing, but she's, she doesn't really know where she belongs. She's got one foot in one group and one foot in the other group. She's friendly with Millie. Is that her name?
Right,
Millie?
Millie, yep.
Millie. She sees Millie
He's kissing a boy.
kissing Tommy, her secret lover that she met at church camp. She's like, "What am I doing? I don't have a boyfriend." So she decides to ditch her mom.
Oh, Millie gives her shade. Like, I didn't want to tell you because I thought you'd be, because
Totally gives her shade. Yeah, exactly. I love how Millie's eating Lickamaid at 7:30 in the morning.
Lickamaid, yeah. What's up, skinny?
Thanks for licking me, skinny.
And are you laundry soap? Right.
She offers her some.
So she breaks her mom's heart because her mom's all excited about Halloween, and she decides she's going to run off and get into some trouble with the geeks, or I'm sorry, the freaks. The freaks. Excuse me. And it's kind of a heartbreaking part of the show because Sam and Neil and Bill have all just been attacked for their candy by what's his name, that other kid.
Oh, what's that kid's name? The big jerk.
It's Squints from The Sandlot.
There you go.
So Chauncey Leopardi is the actor's name.
So they've just gotten their candy stripped of them, and then
careful, it's my grandpa's jacket.
The freaks come by, and they throw eggs at the kids, and Lindsay actually nails Sam with an egg, not realizing that it's her brother.
Right.
And all of a sudden, the fun's off, and Jason Segel, of course, who's trying to impress Lindsay. Come on, we gotta go back. We go back, and they go back.
That's my favorite part is when they back up. Like they're coming back for more.
But I mean, we are seeing Lindsay, trying to fit in, and it's a very interesting dilemma for her.
And the mom it's heartbreaking. Everything she does, it's like screw this. I give up. So sad.
She makes cookies. You can't give out unwrapped foodstuffs.
They're just throwing it in your yard.
Yeah, and the little girl says, "Oh, they're covered with everything's covered with ants."
Yeah, there's.
Everything you talked about. There's this great sequence with the Cheap Trick music behind it. Gonna raise hell, and they're all getting their costumes on, and Sam says, "I'm going for Chaplin. I'm seeing Chaplin, but I'm feeling Hitler or something like that." And
I see is Hitler.
Yeah, and the whole thing with Bill being Jamie Summers is great.
So good.
And you talked about Joe Flaherty doing the Count Floyd thing. Where
did Count Floyd start?
Count Floyd started on SCTV.
There you go. Thought I'd give it to the expert.
Monster Chiller Horror Theater.
Yeah.
Toronto Taint Job.
That too. And there's a great line at the beginning, speaking of Joe Flaherty, where Sam says that he doesn't want to go. So the whole thing is Sam says he's too old to go out. And then the class, one of his teachers, is disappointed with the books that the class has chosen to do book reports on, like the novelization of Star Wars, Al Jaffe's silly answers to stupid questions. So she assigns them all Crime and Punishment, thinking they're mature. And so the way to rebel against being seen as mature is to go out trick-or-treating, even though they all feel like they're probably too old to do this. But when Sam first says that he's not going to go out, Joe Flaherty says, well, it's probably okay that for him to miss begging like a tramp for 1 year. Going door to door begging like a tramp. But yeah, just a terrific episode and very interesting with the Lindsay character. Her struggles to be seen as cool because she gives up. She disappoints her mom.
Yeah.
Hangs out with the freaks, and at the end, Busy Phillips says, "I told you she'd be a drag."
Right.
All she wants to do is go back and see if her brother's okay.
That's right.
So that's my number 3, the wonderful episode of Freaks and Geeks.
Is that your number 2?
Love that. One of the best.
That is my number 3.
Best TV shows of all time.
Oh yeah.
In my opinion.
Man, we gotta wait. What time does that say? I don't have my glasses.
2:13. Never mind.
You gotta
I'm
go.
done. Good night.
Keep talking.
Okay, so I'll make this one quick then. So my number 3 is a special which my family just watched last night. It's The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. A great family special. Much like your Charlie Brown Christmas, this is a great one. Linus waiting for the Great Pumpkin out in the pumpkin patch. And Charlie Brown, you get all the classic things. Charlie Brown trying to kick a football. I promise. Here's a contract. I'm not going to move it. Well, the contract wasn't notarized. They go out trick-or-treating. Everyone's dressed as a ghost. Charlie Brown just keeps getting a rock. Every house he goes to, I got a rock. Sadness. Does the Great Pumpkin appear to Linus? Are all of his wishes going to come true? You have to stay tuned to find out. And it's also got the great music, the great jazz music that accompanies all Charlie Brown specials. But yeah, that's my number 3. Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
Who believes in Linus?
Who believes in Linus?
Yeah.
Sally.
Sally believes in
I
Linus.
believe in blankets.
Yes.
There you go. So that's my number 3.
What year did that show first?
1492.
Nice.
Thank you.
I think it was 66.
Okay. All right, Mr. Danu, what do you have in your number 3 slot?
That can't be right.
No, it's got to be after the Christmas.
It was
one.
the third.
Christmas
Yeah,
is 65, right?
It's the third Charlie Brown special.
Yeah.
After Charlie Brown's All Stars.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. We're on number 3.
Yeah.
All right, I've got sci-fi and horror TV. Twilight Zone, the theme song that you're hearing now. Tales from the Crypt, sort of my era's version of that in some ways. Kind of standalone episodes with the Crypt Keeper as your host, leading into these different tales. You also have, I love the Black Mirror, the British show that's now on Netflix, or at least it originally was a British show, I believe, but now who knows. X-Files, I love X-Files. They deal with all sorts of stuff from werewolves to vampires and all sorts of good stuff. Like for the werewolf episode, they did it as an episode of Cops. I don't know if you guys have seen the X-Files episode where they do it completely done as another Fox show, Cops, and it's... You love this?
Jeff's
what are you doing right now?
I'm just listening to you.
We're just listening. Go ahead.
Sorry, I just loved your hand movement there. Two of the kids' versions of horror TV that I really liked would be the Goosebumps, which I talked about earlier for the scary books. But Goosebumps had the TV show and now the movies. But I'm talking about the mid-'90s TV show on Fox, kind of after school or Saturday mornings for kids. And then Are You Afraid of the Dark, the Nickelodeon Saturday Night Snick was one of their top shows. That was kind of the kids' version of, I guess, what SNL was to all that is what the Twilight Zone or Tales from the Crypt was for Are You Afraid in the Dark. It's kind of the same thing going on there for Saturday Night TV. But sci-fi and horror TV for me at number 3.
All right.
Lots of rhyming.
Got it done. Jeff Robbins.
Hey, what year did Halloween 2 come out?
1980.
Yeah.
80?
Yep.
Okay. When did year Halloween 3 come out?
1984.
You made that up. It was earlier than 84. My number 2. Are we on number 2?
Yeah, we're at number 2.
Season of the Witch, 1982.
My number 2. Check out Halloween 2. My
Our
number
first
2
episode.
My number 2 episode. My number 2 on my list of Halloween themed things is something that I would consider to be one of the oddest, if not the oddest, and here I go again, episodes of Saturday Night Live ever put on the air. This was October 31st, Halloween night, 1981. This is a show hosted by Donald Pleasance, of course known as Dr. Loomis in the Halloween films, obviously chosen for his connection to Halloween. And this featured the punk band Fear as its musical guest. Now, there's a couple things here with that. John Belushi, who was still alive, would be alive for another 6 months at this time, was a big fan of Fear, and he was trying to get them on SNL. And he said, "Hey, if you put them on the show, I'll come on the show and do a little thing." You all right? You got to take that off?
No, yeah, I'm good. Just keep talking.
So,
I'm having a rough go.
for anybody who saw the Eddie Murphy appearance on the 40th anniversary, where everybody got excited, and then, hey, it's Eddie Murphy, he's going to do something really funny. And then he just kind of stood there. Yeah. This is exactly the same kind of thing. You see John Belushi come out of a bathroom stall in the cold open, and everybody goes wild, and he just sort of like looks around, and then that's it. That's the whole thing. And then so Fear at the end of the show, they do 2 numbers. The first one goes off pretty well, but the second one they decide that they're going to trash the studio, and it's a very chaotic, shambolic musical performance. They basically decide mid-performance to things are getting out of control, things are getting broken, there's chaos reigning and Studio 8H, so they actually break away from the musical performance and go to a pre-tape. So that is that was something interesting that happened. Also, there's a lot of blood and guts in this episode, being on Halloween. More blood than you would normally see on a Saturday Night Live. 3 of the sketches that they planned were cut by the executive producer, but what did make it into the show is a creepy film piece where they cut into a pumpkin, and it's basically they cut into the pumpkin and there's blood dripping out of the pumpkin. They start cutting into it, and they play music in the background, somewhat similar to the Halloween music that's creepy. Then at the very end, they dig into the pumpkin, and there's like a heart and liver and just intestines, and it's actually quite disturbing. And then there's a piece at the beginning where Tim Kazurinsky cuts off his own leg, and there's blood everywhere. And maybe not most famously, but most disturbing for me, because I saw this when it first aired. I was 10 years old, and I never forgot the image of this. There was a call-in show. It was supposed to be like a public access call-in show called the Vic Salukin Show, and he offered $100 to anybody who could scare him, call in and scare him. And people try and they can't do it, and eventually Donald Pleasance calls in. Doesn't call in as Donald Pleasance, but it's the actor, doing a character, and the camera zooms in on the radio, or I'm sorry, on the telephone, and he's talking about, I've followed your 9-year-old daughter home from school, and I know about her birthmark on her inner thigh, and it's extremely disturbing. And then we pan out, and we see the Vic Salukin character, played by the late Tony Rosato. He's got a meat cleaver in his head, and he's dead. And there's just blood everywhere on the wall. And it's a black and white sketch. It's a very disturbing image, at least it was as a 10-year-old. So there you go. That is my number 2 on my list, the Donald Pleasance Sphere episode, Halloween, October 31st, 1981, full of odd sketches, odd musical performances, and just a overall disquieting, disturbing, odd episode of SNL.
All right. What time does that say? I can't read it.
9:21.
Holy crap. In 9 minutes. All right. My number 2 is the Roseanne Halloween episodes. There were 8 of them. Apparently there's a new one for the Connors, but I didn't watch that. I haven't seen the Connors. But the Halloween episodes, I sat and watched them all this morning. Pretty great. Constantly all about pranking and scaring each other and everyone around them. There's always a costume party. In most of the episodes, there's a costume party down at the lodge, which requires intricate costumes. One of the ones that I love is when Dan and Roseanne are dressed up as a dead ventriloquist and his dummy. That's a lot of fun. My favorite one is season 2, Boo, where they have a haunted house set up in their house and they're bringing everyone through it. It's pretty great. They go all out with everything in this one. I love, I think season 3, Darlene is dressed up in her costume from the movie The Birds, where she's being attacked by all the birds.
That's right.
Tom Arnold appears in a couple of these. In every single one, he is dressed up as the ghost of Elvis. He's always wearing the same costume in every one.
Oh my God! Wow.
Yeah,
Forgot about these.
Season 3 is a great one. It is the Christmas Carol version. It's the Halloween Carol, where Roseanne doesn't want to participate in Halloween, and so the ghosts of Halloween, past, present, and future, come and visit her and show her what Halloween is like without her. They're just consistently great episodes. Really features a lot of the great snarkiness amongst all of them, and just how they go all out to prank each other. I love them. Those Roseanne episodes are some of my favorite episodes of Roseanne. So
How many did you watch today?
I watched 8 of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's 4 hours.
They're on Daily Motion. They're 22 minutes each. You just burn through those. No problem.
Wow.
You get up at 4 in the morning, you just start watching Roseanne. What are you going to do?
Jeepers.
Yeah, Jeepers is indeed. All right, that's my number 2. I'm trying to get honorable mentions in, Anthony.
I know. All right,
Well,
I'm
see,
working
it's
on
me. I just can't stop talking.
We know. Just kidding.
It's all about me.
For my number 2, I've got Halloween movies for kids. I'm talking about Hocus Pocus, one of the best, right? Monster Squad, that give us the awesome phrase "kick 'em in the nards."
Yeah, Wolfman got nards.
Wolfman's got nards. Kick 'em in the nards. The Witches, which was, I was probably only 3 or 4 when this came out, but I was scared to death of, is it Angelica Houston?
Sure.
Yeah,
Oh
sure.
my gosh, yeah, still frightened by that woman until Royal Tenenbaums, which helped soften the blow a little bit. Ernest Scared Stupid, who could forget our buddy Ernest, right?
Sure.
Casper the Friendly Ghost. Eric Idle, our buddy, is in that movie.
Sure.
I just saw Coco for the first time last week, and I really enjoyed it. That's
Yeah.
another Pixar, right?
Yeah.
That's I thought that was a really good movie. The first time I sat down and watched a kids movie or a Pixar in quite a long time. Nightmare Before Christmas. I don't know, Halloween, Christmas. Either way, it doesn't matter. Who cares?
Both.
And then these next 4 are all made-for-TV movies for the Disney Channel, typically from, 96 through 99. So you got Halloween Town, one of my favorites. The chick from that was on one of the, one of those nerd cons over here. What is it called? Is it Wizard World?
Con?
There you go. Under Wraps, which is the player from Coach, was the mummy in Under Wraps. My mom's got a date with a vampire. That's a fun one. That's Lewis from Revenge of the Nerds.
All right.
Is the kind of the Loomis character in this kids movie about vampires, and a mom's got a date with a vampire. And then Tower of Terror, Steve Guttenberg, and I think Kirsten Dunst is the
Goots.
lead female. Yeah, who wouldn't love Steve Guttenberg?
That's right.
Loved his work in Police Academy as well as Party Down.
Everything he does is great.
He's the goot.
Good.
So there you go. I got Halloween movies for kids.
I like it. I like that a lot.
Yeah, Mr. Russo had substitute pumpkin, so when they smashed the pumpkin, he just went in his house and got a
got
new
another one.
carved
No big
pumpkin.
deal.
Yeah. I'll be quick with my number one on my list because Jameson already talked about it. Number one on my list, 1966. It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. You got to watch it every year. It's a classic. It's got my favorite line of any Peanut special, which is "I Gotta Rock."
Yeah.
That's good stuff. He has trouble with scissors.
That's good stuff.
Linus is doing the thing. Sally's infatuated with him. It's all good stuff. You know it. You love it. You can't live without it. It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Number one on my list, Jameson.
I like that a lot. So my number one is very different when it comes to pop culture related, and it actually comes into play off of Great Pumpkin. My number one is Ben Cooper costumes. Ben Cooper costumes are the costumes that you know from a kid. Had the mask, kind of plastic mask, almost like what I'm wearing, with the really thin rubber band.
Right.
The vinyl smock.
Right.
I love the smell of that fresh vinyl smock. Ben Cooper first came out in 1937, I believe. Started licensing Disney costumes, Snow White, various things like that. Grew to be the name in costumes. I love going to Prangy Way, and you'd see the wall of costumes that they had there. Just beautiful. It's one of the strongest grips of nostalgia for me. Is those costumes really is. And
They're still making them?
No, because they ended in the early 90s, but really oddly how they seemed to end was 1982. There was the Tylenol deaths in Chicago, right? In September of 1982, fear swept the nation, and a lot of moms and dads wouldn't let their kids go out trick-or-treating that next month for Halloween. And Ben Cooper, being the name in costumes at the time, took a massive hit in sales that year because a lot of people were afraid to let their kids go out. And this was when the urban legends of razor blades and poison and candy and blah, blah, blah. And Ben Cooper couldn't recover from it. They just couldn't recover. And so they struggled after that one horrific year in business and kind of barely kept their head above water before declaring bankruptcy late in the 80s, and then were bought out, and then that died in the early 90s. But for me, it is everything Halloween. I still have my Lone Ranger, my Bo Duke, my Superman, and my Count Von Count costumes in the box from when I was a kid. I loved them so much. They're the greatest of Halloween. So that's my number one, Ben Cooper.
Were they
costumes.
one size fits all?
They were one size fits most. Absolutely, because it's just a vinyl smock and a plastic mask that'll cut your mouth if you try and eat candy through it. So there you go.
Very good.
Nicely done.
All right, for my number one, I've got horror movie franchises, and I've picked three that are my particular favorite. I want to know what you guys think about these three. These are the three I think are the best. I think the criteria I'm setting is 2.5 good movies. You have to have 2.5 good movies for your franchise. I'm going with Hannibal Lecter as a horror movie franchise. That's Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal, and the prequel Red Dragon.
Okay.
The Conjuring movies. You got a few of those, plus Annabelle. I haven't seen The Nun yet, but you've given it a good review, and I want to see it now that I know it's related to The Conjuring. And then also my favorite slasher, Halloween. You got to put Halloween on this list for horror movie franchises. And in terms of slashers, we've talked about it a bunch of times. Michael Myers is the best slasher. Give me whatever, Leatherface or Freddy Krueger or Jason. Doesn't matter to me. Michael Myers is top notch. So Halloween, The Conjuring, and Hannibal Lecter series of movies as my horror movie franchises at my number one.
What about Manhunter? Wasn't that a
Manhunter?
Wasn't that a what's the dude's name again?
Hannibal Lecter.
Thank you, Hannibal. Wasn't that a Hannibal
Yeah, it
Lecter
was.
thing? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Debbie Does Dallas?
William Peterson in that.
Right, he's great. He's very good.
Yeah. Okay, we have 1 minute. Any honorable mentions?
No.
No? All I had was the Vincent Price Halloween special from Saturday Night Live. They did that a couple times.
That was that great.
It's one of my favorite Bill Hader roles.
Okay.
Was that Vincent Price with Liberace, Fred Armisen. I had this song, Thriller. I had Stranger Things, the opening to
That's
season
great,
2,
yeah.
when they're out dressed as Ghostbusters and they're arguing about why. Boy, we both want to be Peter.
Yeah.
I thought you'd be
great.
Winston for obvious reasons. Love it.
Before we get out of here, my honorable mentions, the Freaks and Geeks episode, Tricks and Treats. Talked about that one. Both you guys had that on your list, which I think is awesome. I wanted to do something involving music. Scary musicians wearing masks or face paint. Marilyn Manson, Slipknot, Alice Cooper, Gwar. The list goes on. And then Halloween Havoc. The WCW pay-per-view, one of the better ones. My favorite, certainly. 1997, you had the great Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio Jr. match, one of the greatest cruiserweight matches of all time. Check that one out if you're a
Jeff's
wrestling
honorable
fan.
mention.
Yeah, see, I'm sure.
So next week, we are going to be talking about the year of 1973. We're going to get back on track with
That's
our
a scary
yearly
year.
focus. 1973 will be the talk.
Can't wait.
If you tune in next Sunday at 8 p.m., you can also find our program if you want to watch us on the K-Sun channel on your Roku. You find us on Twitter at _PCTC or online anytime at sunprairiemediacenter.com.
There you go, folks. We'll catch you next week in 1973.
If you have any ideas for 1973, what should they do?
You could send them
Facebook
in
them. Sun Prairie Media
Facebook
Center.
them to the Sun Prairie
Sure,
Media
why not?
Center, 1035 The Sun.